What's up, you guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to talk about Jiu Jitsu. Jiu Jitsu is a hobby that I picked up back in 2016 that I will probably never ever get rid of. At least as long as my body will allow it, I will probably always train for the rest of my life because that's how in love I fell in with it. I fell in love with it. How much I fell in love with it. But yeah, I wanted to talk about my journey with Jiu Jitsu and kind of each step that I've gone through and where I'm at kind of now in my journey, because I'm at a point in the journey of Jiu Jitsu that is very important. It's more or less a middle ground, kind of, I would say, at least in the ranks. With Jiu Jitsu, you're going to be learning, all the time. You learn every single day. Every time you train, you learn something. And I think it'll continue to be like that as I go throughout the journey. There is really no end point. I feel like there's a start point, and then you continue to learn and learn as you go along. And that's what I really like about it. There's always something new to learn, and there's no end goal that you're trying to reach, more or less. But essentially, I wanted to talk about my journey and what it's done for me and how it's helped me along the way, and hopefully you get some value out of it. When you first start Jiu Jitsu, at least as an adult, you start out at white belt. So here's my white belt that I got. I got it back in 2016, September of 2016, and a lot of memories with this. A lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of matches that I lost, a lot of matches, or some matches that I won, a lot of matches that I lost, and a lot of learning with this belt. This was a very important belt to have because it's the beginning, it's when you first start. It's when you start to learn Jiu Jitsu and start to understand what grappling is and how to actually do the art of Jiu Jitsu. As you can see here, there's 4 tapes on the end of the belt. Now these are stripes. So this is what we call them is stripes in Jiu Jitsu. So it's really just a mark that shows that you're progressing and you're putting in the work and you're actually getting better. More or less, it's like a psychological thing. It doesn't really mean too much. At least at white belt, when you get these, they mean a lot. As you go out through the ranks, they don't really mean as much to you as they once did. But they do show a form that you are actually progressing and you're putting in the work. It kind of shows that you're moving towards the next rank or the next belt rank. So they do mean something, but at this point, they don't mean too much. More or less, the belt color means the most to you. Even then, it doesn't really mean that much. But I'll get into that later. A lot of memories at white belt. A lot of losses in competitions or in matches that I've had. But I learned a lot with this belt, and I learned a lot with those matches. As you can kind of see, it is pretty messed up. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it is pretty ripped up. I did put in a lot of days when I first started. When I first started, I would do probably about 5 days a week training, so at least an hour a day. More or less, I would do about two hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6, just because I fell in love with it, and I just it was kind of my escape ground and somewhere I could go to forget everything. That no matter what's happening in your life, when you're training, you forget about it all. When you're on a mat, you just forget about everything, and all you worry about is Jiu Jitsu, and all you worry about is training. Probably because you don't want to get submitted or tapped out or put to sleep or have a broken arm. So really, that's probably why you don't worry about anything else. But it's kind of an escape route that I would always like to take, and just not think about anything else and forget about everything else. So a lot of good memories at white belt. And then I got promoted to blue belt, and this was a big step in the Jiu Jitsu journey, because once you receive a blue belt, you feel so accomplished. You went through that first step at white belt, you got your first belt, you learned a lot, and once you get your blue belt, you feel like you're actually learning something and understanding Jiu Jitsu. I started to compete more at blue belt because I wanted to prove that I was a blue belt, and prove to myself that I did deserve this belt, because usually, at least with blue belt, and you receive your blue belt after white belt, you are very excited. You want your blue belt, and once you get it, you're kind of like, oh crap, I gotta step up my game. I have to show that I am a blue belt. So that's kind of where I was at with blue belt. I wanted to compete a lot, so I did a lot of competitions, because when you're a blue belt, the really good white belts want to kill you, and the purple belts, which is the next belt rank that you go up to, they want to kill you as well. So blue belt was very important because it was a lot of fun, and I started to get a better grasp on jiu-jitsu because I was starting to learn different moves and kind of understand moves a lot better. As opposed to white belt, you're kind of just learning how to survive and not really just get submitted and get put in bad positions. At blue belt, you understand not to get put in those positions, and you understand how you're not going to be put in those bad positions, and then you start to learn more submissions, and actually jiu-jitsu starts to make sense at blue belt. So like I said, I did a lot of competitions at blue belt, and definitely a lot of fun. I lost a lot of matches. I also won a lot of matches. So this was definitely a big stepping stone in my jiu-jitsu journey, and I enjoyed being at blue belt, and I kind of wish I still was a blue belt, because after blue belt you get promoted to purple belt, and that's where I'm at right now. So this is sort of the center of the jiu-jitsu journey to black belt. To give you guys a little bit of a context, it goes white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, and then black belt. So black belt is more or less the last belt you get. You can get different belts after that, but I won't even get into that. Essentially, you want to stay in jiu-jitsu to be able to get your black belt, and then they say once you get your black belt, then you start learning jiu-jitsu, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I'm at purple belt now. So purple belt has been definitely one of the scarier belts I've been at, just because training at purple belt, the black belts and the brown belts are going after you. The white belts and the blue belts are going after you as well, but at this point you should know enough to be able to handle them. So it is definitely kind of a scary one, because when you get to purple belt, you have the really good guys, the guys that have been training jiu-jitsu for years and years and years, really trying to put this belt to the test and kind of show you what they are and show you that you're not there yet. It's all fun and games. I'm making it sound like it's a mean sport, but it really is. They call it the gentle art, and jiu-jitsu, it's definitely a grappling and kind of like a head-to-head sport, but it definitely is still pretty humbleizing, if that's a word. So purple belt is definitely where I think I'm at. Like I said, with white belt, you can't wait to get your blue belt. You can't wait to do that next step. But after blue belt, and a lot of guys, when they get their purple belt, they're like, oh, I don't know if I'm a purple belt. That seems like it's more advanced for me, just because you kind of have that mentality of, you're like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm there yet. And that's kind of where I was when I got my purple belt. I wasn't sure if I was ready to get my purple belt. I felt like a blue belt still. You got to leave your trust in your coaches, and if they believe that you are a purple belt, if they believe you're a blue belt, if they believe you're a brown belt, that's what you are. It's really not up to you. At least that's kind of how I think of it. But purple belt has been very, very fun. It's definitely testing me. I want to show others that I am a purple belt, and I don't want to let other people prove to me that I'm not. So I definitely have been putting in a lot of work with this belt. I've only had it for about a year now. I believe a year now. I think I got it in, when did I get it? September or October of 2019. So a little bit over a year. I got my blue belt in December of 2017. So put in a year at white belt, got my blue belt, put in about 2 years at blue belt, and now I'm about a year into my purple. I definitely want to keep purple for, at least I want to be a purple belt for at least 3 years. Really, I just want to be a purple belt until I feel like I'm a brown belt. I'm going to leave that up to the person that's going to promote me to brown belt. I'm going to leave it up to them. It's under their discretion, really. I'm always going to feel like I'm a purple belt for 10 years if I don't really, try to move up to that next step. And again, that's something that I love about jiu-jitsu, is that you're always kind of pushing yourself. And when you're at a belt level, you want to get to that next level. Deep down you do. So you really want to push yourself, and it kind of tests your ability to be able to prove to yourself that you can, get to that next level. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Again, jiu-jitsu has changed a lot for me. I remember when I started, I was in a weird time in my life. I had some things going on that I that I didn't want to think about all the time, because if I did, I would just get trapped in my mind and think about it. They weren't the best things. So when I started jiu-jitsu, it was nice to be able to get on the mat, forget about everything in life, and just focus on jiu-jitsu and focus on learning jiu-jitsu, focus on not getting submitted, focus on learning how to do these moves and just understanding jiu-jitsu. So still to this day, that's how it is. You know, when I'm on the mat, I don't think about anything else, and all you think about is jiu-jitsu. So there's some beauty behind that, and that's what I really love about it. Just like any martial art, you know, boxers, when they're in the ring, they don't think about anything else. Wrestlers, just any other martial art. So that's kind of my journey in jiu-jitsu. I will continue to train until I can't, no matter what belt level I'm at. I don't really care at this point. It doesn't matter what belt level I'm at. I just want to learn, get better, prove to myself that I'm getting better, and just understand the art. And so if you are, you know, thinking about getting into jiu-jitsu, you never hear anything bad about it, aside from, you know, the injuries, things like that. But essentially, it's a great workout, a great cardio workout. You'll really test your strength, and you know, there's so many psychological benefits to jiu-jitsu that it's hard to explain them all. But you really gotta train it and actually train jiu-jitsu to understand everything. It's not only just a physical workout, but it's also a mental workout. I'll get into that maybe in another video, but essentially that's my jiu-jitsu journey. We're at purple now, working on my brown, and maybe in 3 years. So, you know, I'm excited to continue doing this. And again, I love jiu-jitsu. It's one of the best things that I've decided to do and pick up. And if you're thinking about doing it, definitely recommend it. So that's all I got for you guys in this video. If you like videos like this, definitely let me know in the comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be putting out other videos about just random topics throughout this channel's history. So if you like stuff like this, let me know. I want to talk about more, you know, finance stuff, as well as, you know, minimalism, things that I'm passionate about and things that I like to do in my life, so I can, you know, try to provide some value to you guys. So if you like this stuff, go ahead and subscribe. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.